With the rise of the computers, many of us animation fans have asked the question, will 2D animation fizzle out and die? Answer is no, it's not dead nor dying, not by a long shot, and not in a million years. Thank you for watching, we're done here. Jokes aside, 2D animation is not only alive and well, but is thriving in certain aspects, especially over East with the anime industry. Let's elaborate. Let's kick this off with some data statistics like actual professionals. Of the around 90 animated movies released this year, 2022, as featured by our old pal Wikipedia, exactly a third of them are either 2D animated or feature a heavy amount of 2D animation. You might think that, hey, 33.333 repeating percent isn't at all that impressive, right? But when you consider that the other animation techniques, such as stop-motion animation, barely got the spotlight once or twice in the oversaturated ocean of media, it really isn't that dire. There's no denying that CG or 3D animation has absolutely taken over, but numbers alone prove that 2D animation still has its feet firmly planted with no signs of slowing down. And that's feature-length films alone. There's plenty of 2D animated series that came out with plenty of future releases still in progress, both westward and eastward. We won't be taking the time to name them as it will take actual ages, but you can rest assured that 2D animated projects are still being given attention and care. Case in point, anime. Although CG animation as a technique has managed to take over most of the industry over in the West, we cannot say the same about our Eastern brethren, as over in Japan, 2D animation is absolutely thriving, and to some people's surprise, 3D media is actually struggling to even find a foothold over there. I mean, ask Berserk 2016 and the absolutely awful reception it had at the time. And let's not talk about X-Arm. No one, and I mean not a single soul, wants to talk about X-Arm. But we're not here to dwell on the negative and instead talk about the incredible masterpieces that manage to come out every season from Japan. Something is in the water over there, I swear to God, and it's not just kaiju. Anyways, one of the studios that has managed to gain massive popularity and notoriety this past decade is none other than Studio Ufotable, with absolutely mind-bending works, such as the Fate series, with Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, setting a whole new bar to what can be done with quality TV animation. Then they proceeded to surpass that bar with their adaptation of Demon Slayer, using motifs inspired from traditional Japanese artwork for animating special effects. And it didn't take them long to surpass that bar again with the second season of the same show. People talk a lot about the difference in TV quality and feature film quality animation, but this studio of incredibly talented and passionate people don't believe in such a concept, and the quality of their work speaks for it, as well as the popularity of said work. Demon Slayer, the movie, Mugen Train, is still the highest grossing anime movie of all time, with over $500 million in revenue worldwide. Point is, people still are willing to make amazing things with this medium, and people still gobble it up because it's that good. Speaking of popular, have you heard of the Netflix hit show Arcane? That's a stupid question, I know. Of course you did. But that's a CGI show, you silly you. You're probably thinking that. Well, yes, you're correct, it is a CGI show. Except for the parts that are not. Riot Games has been a culprit of this for many years, actually, but it has been put into full display in Arcane. The manner in which 2D and 3D animation are blended together masterfully, primarily in special effects animation. If you see smoke coming out of a building, an explosion, sparks flying, or weird hex-tech magic, chances are it's traditionally animated. And sometimes they just straight up replace frames with 2D hand-drawn ones to show the raw kinetic force of certain actions, such as any scene where our protagonist, V, proceeds to punch anything, and that happens more often than you would probably expect. Arcane isn't Riot Games' only rodeo in this department, as they have been experimenting with this technique for many years, since it's perfectly put on display in their 2018 music video for the League of Legends World Championship called Rise. Fellow content creator TB Skyn has made in-depth analysis and animation breakdowns on both videos if you would like a more detailed look on how they pull it off. It's also worth noting that Rise is the only and last music video that used CG animation as its primary medium, and all the other world anthems, excluding 2019, are all primarily animated in 2D. Up until this point, we've been comparing 2D and 3D animation as two separate entities. One is on the path of dominion, while the other is crawling from behind trying to catch up. But this couldn't be further from the truth. They've been living in harmony since the dawn of time in the 90s, where 3D software were being developed and popularized. And no, the combination of the two techniques isn't just a gimmick being used nowadays to streamline the animation pipeline. Even back in the software dark ages of the 90s, Disney themselves have developed Deep Canvas, which is a 3D software that allowed the artists to create and paint backgrounds in a 3D space. This software was made specifically during the time of creating the Tarzan movie. It was also used in Treasure Planet as well, in order to create dynamic action scenes where the camera can freely be moved around a 3D background with a traditionally animated character flawlessly traversing it. So even in the golden days of Disney traditional animation, 3D was still being used just as much as in current days. Traditional animation is still being used to enhance the 3D experience. The biggest and final nail in the coffin of this idea of 2D animation dying, in my opinion, is video games. If I were to tell you that there are video games out there that are not only fully animated in 2D, but animated by hand, traditionally using cells, I would be labeled a fool. Yet, here we are, where the fools are the skeptics and I reign supreme. Wait, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Cuphead, released in September of 2017 by Studio MDHR. Cuphead is, as stated, fully animated traditionally by hand, and unlike its predecessors like the Tales of the World games that have their most important cinematic moments animated traditionally, Cuphead has even its gameplay section traditionally animated, along with its UI and menus, and I think I got the point across here. At the end of the day, 2D animation remains a form of artistic expression, and as long as there are stories to tell and people that are willing to tell these stories, this medium will survive and thrive. It's not about efficiency or budget. People want it. Numbers do not lie. They want to see 2D animated projects as much as others want to create them. Few other mediums have the ability to capture the cinematography and the artistic vision the same way a hand-drawn keyframe can, or to capture the raw kinetic energy a single impact frame can add to a scene. To circle back to both artistry and arcane, because of course, we can't recommend checking out the bridge fight in episode 7 enough. It's a prime example of what can be achieved when genius minds are given the space and a medium that allows them to express their creativity and storytelling prowess without limitations. In conclusion, the only thing that can kill 2D animation is 2D animation, as in people get sick enough of it that they stop making it. That being said, any form of animation has yet to die, and all of them still have a place on the market and in the pipeline to be used in tandem with each other. So no, 2D animation isn't dead and is only here to stay. And anyone who thinks otherwise, well, more power to you, buddy. I wish I could believe in something as much as you do. You made it to the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around this long. I 100% believe that you enjoyed our content enough to leave us a like, comment, and to show that subscribe button who is the boss. That bell as well. It's been looking at me weird. You should click it. See what's the deal with that. Anyways, thank you for watching as always, and see you next time.